Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. It's a proclamation issued by the governing body of the town of Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida. Whereas in the United States, one person dies by suicide every 12.8 minutes, with 41,149 deaths by suicide in our country during 2013. Whereas in our country, suicide is the second leading cause of death for 15 to 24-year-olds and is the 10th leading cause of death for people of all ages. Whereas each person's death by suicide intimately affects at least 6 other people, with over 200,000 newly bereaved each year. Whereas in 2014, over 200 Broward County residents died by suicide, and several thousand friends and family members were changed forever by losing those people. Florida is ranked number 21 in suicide deaths in adults and ranked number 3 in suicide deaths of teens, with over 3,000 deaths every year to suicide in the state of Florida. Whereas many of those people who died never received effective behavioral health services for many reasons, including the difficulty of accessing services by healthcare providers trained in best practices to reduce suicide risk, the stigma of using behavioral health treatment, and the stigma associated with losing a loved one to suicide. Whereas the Love Sami Organization, a nonprofit dedicated to advocating for suicide prevention awareness and education, wanting to reduce the frequency of suicide attempts and deaths and the pain of those affected by suicide deaths through therapeutic grief support programs, intervention services, and working with our government on passing stronger laws for suicide prevention and awareness. 1. Recognize suicide as a significant public health problem in Florida and declare suicide prevention a statewide priority. 2. Support the development of accessible behavioral health services for all counties of our state, implementing national best practices in reducing suicidal risk for people of all ages and backgrounds. 3. Acknowledge that no single suicide prevention effort will be sufficient or appropriate for all populations or communities. And 4, encourage initiatives based on the goals and activities contained in the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention, Zero Suicide of the National Action Alliance for Suicide Prevention, and the Way Forward by Action Alliance's Suicide Attempt Survivor Task Force. Whereas far too many Floridians die by suicide each year, and most of these deaths are preventable. Now, therefore, I, Scot Sasser, Mayor of the town of Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida, do hereby proclaim September 7th through 13th, 2015 as Suicide Prevention Week.
Thank you. Thank you.